Hello children, hope you all are safe at home. Welcome to Audio 3. Hope you all remember what we heard in Audio 2. Let's recall. In Audio 2, we heard that Bepin Bapu decided to call his friend Dinesh Mukherjee. When he called, Dinesh Mukherjee said that he had been to Ranchi. Then Bepin came back from office. Then the next day, he met his old friend Chunilal, and Chunilal was also insisting that he had been to Ranchi, and Chunilal was working in a travel agency. So Chunilal booked ticket for Bepin Bapu, and he even described all the minute details, like the fan in one of his compartment was not working. Okay, so hearing all this minute incident, he was actually confused, and Bepin came to the conclusion that he had some issues with his memory. Okay, so let's continue. Children, please take page number 67. I have been working too hard, he said at last. That must be the reason. Must see about consulting a specialist. Doubtless it was Bepin's condition which made Chunilal leave without mentioning anything about a job. Paresh Chandra was a young physician with a pair of bright eyes and a sharp nose. He became thoughtful when he heard about Bepin Bapu's symptoms. Look, Dr. Chanda, said Bepin Bapu desperately. You must cure me of this horrible illness. I cannot tell you how it's affecting my work. Must see about consulting means he should consult. Okay, thoughtful. Thoughtful here refers to involving in a thought. So children, at last Bepin Bapu accepted that he had been working too much, and maybe because of that he had lost his memory. So he visited a specialist. Okay, Paresh Chanda, that is the name of the doctor. Now Bepin Bapu visited the physician Paresh Chanda, and that doctor, physical description of the doctor is given. The doctor has bright eyes and a sharp nose. So after hearing the symptoms of Bepin Bapu, actually the doctor was also confused. And what did Bepin say? Bepin Bapu told the doctor how badly and desperately he wanted to get rid of this illness. And he also termed his situation as horrible. And he complained that it is affecting his work and it had started bothering him. Okay, now come to the next. Dr. Chanda shook his head. You know what, Mr. Choudhury, he said. I have never had to deal with a case such as yours. Frankly, this is quite outside my field of experience. But I have one suggestion. I don't know if it will work, but it's worth a try. It can do no harm. So Dr. Chanda shook his head upon hearing Bepin Bapu and said that he has not taken a case like this even before. In his career, he had not come across such a case. Then he says, Bepin Bapu, that he had a suggestion to offer, and sometimes it might work, and there is no negative consequences of doing it too. It's not like a medicine or something else. It is just a suggestion. Bepin Bapu leaned forward anxiously. As far as I can make out, said Dr. Chanda, and I think you are of the same opinion. You must have been to Ranchi, but due to some unknown reason, the entire episode has slipped out of your mind. What I suggest is that you go to Ranchi once again. The sight of the place may remind you of your trip. This is not impossible. More than that, I cannot do at that moment. I am prescribing a nerve tonic and a tranquilizer. Sleep is essential, or the symptoms will get more pronounced. Bepin Babu felt somewhat better the next morning. After breakfast, he rang up his office, gave some instructions, and then procured a first-class ticket for Ranchi for the same evening. Anxiously means what to say, revealing anxiety. Then a tranquilizer, it's a medicine to reduce stress and anxiety. Procured means got with a little difficulty, that is procured means. So what happened, children? The doctor explained that he should go to Ranchi once again. Okay, then he prescribed some medicines. Then what happened? He understood that this man needs some sort of sleep. Okay, so he prescribed some medicines. So the next morning, Bepin Bapu woke up and he was feeling a bit better. So after having breakfast, he called his office, gave some instructions. Then he arranged a first-class ticket to Ranchi and he went. Now let's see what happened. Come to fourth comprehension. Getting off the train at Ranchi next morning, he realized at once that he had never been there before. He came out of the station, took a taxi, drove around the town for a while. He realized that the streets, the buildings, the hotels, the bazaars, the Morabadi hill, with none of these had he the slightest acquaintance. Would a trip to the Hudru Falls help? He didn't believe so, but at the same time he didn't wish to leave with the feeling that he hadn't tried enough. So he arranged for a car and left for Hudru in the afternoon. So children, he reached Ranchi the next morning. Okay, then he took a taxi. He came out of the railway station and roamed around the town for a while. But he had never seen those buildings, hotels, markets, or Morabadi Hill ever before. So he was just seeing everything, but he didn't remember actually, and he was not sure if a trip to Hudru Falls would make any difference. That person, did you remember in the starting of the lesson? That person had said, Parimal Ghosh. What did he say? He said that Bepin Babu fall in Hudru Falls and he put some iodine and he arranged a car, all these things Parimal Ghosh had said. So Bepin Babu remembered that. So he just thought, why I couldn't go to the Hudru Falls, that it would just bring back my memory. Okay, so he arranged a taxi to Hudru and he left in the afternoon. Now the next paragraph. At 5 o'clock the same afternoon in Hudru, two Gujarati gentlemen from a group of picnickers discovered Bepin Babu lying unconscious beside a boulder. When he came around, the first thing Bepin Babu said was, "I am finished. There is no hope left." So what a boulder means? A very big rock. Came round means regained consciousness. That means he is back. When he fell down, he was unconscious. Came round here refers to he gained his consciousness back to normal. So children, it was 5 o'clock. Then two Gujarati men who was there in the group of picnickers found Bepin Babu lying unconscious beside a large rock. Okay, this man, I don't know what happened. This man might have slipped or thinking unnecessary things about his memory. He might have fell down there unconscious. So two Gujarati men saw this man, Bepin Babu, lying near the large rock. They just when they just saw this person, he was unconscious. After some time he regained his consciousness. And what did Bepin Babu say after opening the eyes? He said, "I am finished. There is no hope left." This was the word said by Bepin Babu when he regained consciousness. Okay, next paragraph. Next morning, Bepin Babu was back in Calcutta. He realized that there was truly no hope for him. Soon he would lose everything: his will to work, his confidence, his ability, his balance of mind. Was he going to end up in asylum yet? Bepin Babu couldn't think anymore. So what happened here, children? Asylum means a place where mad people are kept. Bepin Babu had realized that there was no hope for a situation like this. Okay, so he came back to Calcutta the next morning, and as such he began to worry about how he might lose everything. Okay, his interest in work, confidence, abilities, and peace of mind, everything was disturbed. And he even wondered what he could be in the future. He will be in a madhouse, is it? In an asylum. Then he had exhausted his ability to think anymore by that time. So he lost everything. His mind was completely disturbed. Now the next one. Back home, he rang up Dr. Chanda and asked him to come over. Then after a shower, he got into bed with an ice bag clamped on his head. Just then the servant brought him a letter which someone had left in the letter box, a greenish envelope with his name in red ink on it. Above the name it said, "Urgent and confidential." In spite of his condition, Bepin Babu had a feeling that he ought to go through the letter. He tore open the envelope and took out the letter. So children, when he is back home, he called Dr. Chanda and said to come to his house very urgently. Then he took a shower. He got into bed with an ice bag. Clamped means putting that ice bag on his head. Then it was only then that his servant brought a letter. The envelope was green in color with his name written on it with a red ink. Then the envelope read, "Urgent and confidential." Something very urgent. Confidential means the letter which is addressed to that person should only open. Then Bepin Babu, though he was actually worried, he decided to open the letter. And what did he see in that letter? That is what he read. "Dear Bepin, I had no idea that affluence would bring about the kind of change in you that it has done. Was it so difficult for you to help out an old friend down on his luck? I have no money, so my resources are limited. What I have is imagination, a part of which I used in retribution of your unfeeling behavior. Well, you will be all right again now. A novel I have written is being considered by a publisher. If he likes it enough, it will see me through the next few months." So affluence means, children, a state of having a great deal of money. In retribution of, that refers to punishment. Okay, now what happened? The letter began with a salutation to Bepin. Then the writer of the letter had shown disappointment. Why he is disappointed? Because Bepin Babu has changed a lot since he became a wealthy person. His behavior changed. And Chunilal, okay, it was Chunilal who wrote this letter. So Chunilal is just telling that you just forgot your childhood friend, is it? Then Chunilal was having a very bad time, and he has been behind Bepin Babu asking for a job, but Bepin Babu was not ready to help. So he used his imagination to take revenge for Bepin Babu's behavior toward his friend. Okay. Then Chunilal also wrote that you would be fine now. because you understood your memory is okay. It was just a drama created by Chunilal. Okay. Then what was there in the letter again? Chunilal also told that he has written a novel and it is being considered by a publisher. Then he will get enough money for the next few months. Okay, so this was a letter which is addressed to Bepin Babu. When Don Chanda came, Bepin Babu said, "I'm fine. It all came back as soon as I got off the train at Ranchi." "A unique case," said Dr. Chanda. "I shall certainly write about it in a medical journal." "The reason why I sent for you," said Bepin Babu, "is that I have a pain in the hip from a fall I had in Ranchi. If you could prescribe a painkiller." So what happened here, children? When Dr. Chanda came to see him, Bepin Babu revealed that he has got his memory back when he traveled to Ranchi. Okay, it all came running back as he got off the train. Then Dr. Chanda remarks. What Dr. Chanda said, that it is a very unique case, and informs that he will add this in his medical journal also. He is going to write this issue in a medical journal. Then Bepin Babu tells the doctor that he called him to prescribe a painkiller because he had a fall from Ranchi. He fall in Ranchi, so he is suffering from pain, so he need a painkiller. So children, that is the end of this lesson. So hope the story is clear, is it? So Bepin Babu actually had no problem at all. Bepin Babu was just a normal person, but by the end of the story, through that letter, it is clear that Chunilal had tricked him as a punishment for his unfeeling behavior. Okay, Chunilal had tricked Bepin Babu for not helping him. Thank you.